Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to learn how you could call a function from another function. So in the previous tutorials we have learned a lot about functions, what functions are, why they are used and how they are used. So basically there are two parts in a function. The first part is declaring a function, that is writing some code into the function, and then we used to call the function. So in this tutorial we are going to create a function and then we are going to call that function by creating another function. So let's go ahead and create the first function. So let's say we have the function and let's name the first function as function1, and let's not enter anything into the parameters, and let's go ahead and let's type some text into the function. So let's say this is going to display the text like this is function1. So let's go ahead and type document dot write, and let's say this is function1. Now let's go ahead and create another function. So we type function and let's name this function as function2, and we don't enter anything into the parameter section, and inside this function, instead of writing some code, we are going to call the function1. So in order to call function1, we simply type the name of the function, which is function1, and then we are going to give parentheses and then a semicolon. So this function2 is basically going to call the function1, and the function1 is going to display the value, is going to print out the value that this is function1. Now once we go ahead and save the program and execute it on a browser, you could see that nothing really pops up. And that is because we have successfully called the function1 from function2 right over here, but we have forgotten to call the function2. So once you call the function2, it is going to execute this code right over here, and the code over here is nothing but the function call for function1. So this function call is going to execute this function, and this function is going to execute this line, which is document.write, and this is function1. So let's go ahead and let's call the second function. So in order to call a function, we give its function name. So we type function2, and then for the call we have the parentheses and a semicolon. Now if we save the code and execute it, it is going to display that this is function1. So technically what happens in this function is that the function2 gets called. So the function2 is this function, and when this function gets called, the code inside this function2 is going to start executing, and the code inside this function is nothing but the function call of the first function. So on executing this line, the first function is going to be called. Now the first function is this function, and this contains this piece of code right over here. So as function1 is called, it is going to execute this line, and what this line does is that it simply displays this code. It simply displays this text that this is function1. So that's how you could call a function within another function. Now you could also call a particular function in another function twice. So for example, if we copy the line of code here and if we paste it, so the function2 is going to call function1 twice. So to check that, we save the code and execute it on the browser. So as you could see, the function gets executed twice, and that is because we have called the function twice over here in the function2. So that's how you call a function within another function, and you could do this as many times as you want. So basically it is usually handy when you are going to nest two functions, that is one function is dependent on another, so that you could use one function to call some other function. So that's it for this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.